Well, the Dodgers are really scuffling, and they have no healthy starting pitchers who've been off the disabled list. Every one of their starters has been spent time on the IL.
Ooh.
And that includes Kershaw, who is 10-4 with a 2.55 ERA, and now has obviously got the shoulder issue and a cortisone injection, etc. Julio Urias is not the same pitcher from the guy that was, 21-4 last season. That's a big issue. They don't know what they have with Syndergaard. They're bringing him back after the All-Star break from Camelback Ranch. They're going to probably put him back in the rotation. Has he solved his mechanical flaws? Has he found his velocity? The Dodgers right now just have a ton of pitching issues that they're going to have to find answers to. And the answer will be between now and July 31st, the trade deadline. These are the names that are out there right now that they could probably make a bid on and get somebody as a rental starting pitcher for the second half of the season. And that's all it's going to be. They're not going to trade all the kid pitchers from Oklahoma City. James Paxton, once upon a time, was a tremendous prospect with Seattle. Physical, all types of injuries, shoulder, elbow, forearm. Went to Boston, has been on and off the IL for a couple years in a row. When he's healthy, he's been pretty good. But Boston's out of the race. They're not going to be in the wild card. They might move James Paxton, left-handed pitcher. Lance Lynn is kind of a fourth or fifth guy in your rotation. Former St. Louis Cardinal, now with the White Sox. Strikes out a lot of guys, workhorse, piles innings, gives up a ton of home runs. You could probably get him for $2 nickels. He's at the end of his contract. White Sox are not going to bring him back. The thing is, if you bring him in and give him the ball as your fifth starter, is the ball going to go over the wall? Because he's given up, I think he's given up 22 home runs the first half of the season, which is a lot. Brad Hand, ex-Padre closer, as a setup reliever, maybe he helps them. He's currently in Colorado. He's kind of bounced around the league a lot, which surprises me because he had some really back-to-back really good years with San Diego. And then, of course, he was traded away, what was with the Phillies a year ago. Brad Hand might be a solution to what's been a very hot and cold bullpen. They're trying to find a right-handed bat to complement everything else that's happening in the batting order. You talk about mashing? Holy cow, it's like howitzer shells going out of Dodger Stadium. I think they're the second best home run hitting team in baseball. And Mookie Betts, all-star. Freddie Freeman, all-star. The young catcher, Will Smith, hitting home runs. Dodgers are a pretty good home run hitting team, but they're looking for a right-handed bat. They might rent Adam Duvall. You know, he played well in Cincinnati. He was a role player that helped Atlanta last year, went to Boston, started hot, then either fractured wrist on a hit by pitch. It's taken him forever to get back. He is back. Another kid might be Cincinnati. Nick Senzel has been kind of pushed aside. He was a hot prospect, can play outfield, play infield, does have some power. He's available because the Reds have got all these young kids that kind of gone to Great American Ballpark, and they're playing well. So keep an eye on the Dodgers. They always historically have done something. Now, I don't think they're going to do a mega deal, like getting a Max Scherzer. I don't think that's going to happen. But to get a guy to help them in the rotation, in the bullpen, I could see that happen between now and the trade deadline on July 31st. Your impressions?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to make a lot of small pieces to kind of fit in some of those holes. But last time we talked about the Dodgers, you said that Marcus Stroman was a possibility.
Yep.
But that would require a lot of trade capital to make that happen. What's the latest on that rumor?
Well, Stroman is out there. The Cubs have told him they're not going to sit and offer him a contract extension yet. Doesn't make any sense to me because he's having a mystical season. Very dominant pitcher. He gets to the All-Star break, and he's had really good starts in terms of strikeouts, things of that nature. Really impressive ERA. Why the Cubs would not sign him is kind of beyond me. If you're going to let guys go, the guys like Kyle Hendricks and some of these other kids, maybe you do that. But the price to get him, and it wouldn't be I don't think it'd be a one-year rental, because if I'm the Cubs, I want one of those young live arms from Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Stroman's going to leave, or they're not going to sign him. You got to get something back. That the Dodgers want to do that if it's only a half-year rental. Or, and this could happen, the Dodgers could go back to the Cubs front office and say, we're interested in Stroman. You give us a window to talk to his agent about a contract extension. So they wouldn't rent him for half a season. what they would do is come to an agreement on what a multi-year extension for Stroman would be, and then go ahead and make the trade because you know you're getting him for not just the last 70 games of this season, but you're getting it for a second year, a third year, maybe even a fourth year. But it's going to have payroll implications. And of course, you and I have talked extensively about they're hiding all this money under this corner of the table for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But
well, have you seen what Bellinger is doing in Chicago?
Yeah.
I mean, what a great bounce back year.
Yeah, and he's a walk free agent at the end. But is that for real? Is that the real deal? Because it wasn't real for a long period of time. One other side story here on the Dodgers. Let me throw this at you. I don't know if you've caught wind of this. Dave Roberts has really been grilled by the LA media covering the Dodgers about where they are, their struggles, what organizationally they're going to do. Although historically, Andrew Friedman has always made transactions, big deals like Scherzer stealing him from San Diego, or small deals to rent a vet. And then Dave Roberts was asked about his team, and he says, the difference in our team this year, even though they lost the Justin Turners of the world, and a lot of that team chemistry went away, he says there is a drive within that clubhouse, an emotional drive, never, ever to give up. And he made a really strange statement that kind of opened my eyes. He said, last year when we lost to the Padres, we went in there and we didn't respect San Diego, and San Diego beat us. And he said, baseball, at least the way we've played it, you can't just turn the switch on. You got to be relentless. You need to do it for an extended period of time. So it's kind of a backhanded compliment and maybe a backhanded critique. The Dodgers weren't emotionally ready, and they didn't respect the Padres, and they got knocked out of the playoffs because of what San Diego did. Now, since that point in time, the Dodgers have kicked the Padres' butt in all these games they played this season. So the norm is the norm, with the exception of what happened last October.
Yeah, well, for sure, the Dodgers have been kicking the Padres' butt for years. So I can see why the players felt that way. But it's just interesting, too. Even Justin Turner is talked about as a trade piece now. Imagine if these former Dodgers all came back, because if they're all rentals, those guys would plug in, might help the chemistry overall over there in LA.
Yeah, and Justin Turner did not want to leave Dodger Stadium. He'd become an icon within the clubhouse. He'd done so many charitable things with his wife in the LA community. And I think it just kind of hurt him that they weren't going to pay him. He didn't get the money he thought he was supposed to get. He wound up, I think, on a 2-year deal to go to Boston. I'd be fascinated if that right-handed bat we talked about that they'd like to add wound up being Justin Turner in multiples of positions and roles to play. Fascinating. Okay,